Is Jehovah gay?
Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication.
Perfume intoxication, music of the Antichrist, ballad of the root cutters, ballerina come to see ya, Thanatos with love Athena, adrenochrome into your domain and end the war. I'm vying for peace, all things hidden will be revealed. I'm Freddy Krueger with the purple stone, hail Satan, Medusa's home. I'm in the twilight zone and roots I cut and grow them. Death bubba, you toke it. Take 2 hits and hold it. The witch, she keep you loaded. So good they won't mow it. I spit dragon venom through hell into the heavens. Hot fire is purple. I'm with the ashy ashmen where the horses ride, flying through the night. I'm here for the promises. You'll feel alright. It's a policy. She keeps it tight. Got the costume on all night. I'm with the fumigation company.
Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication.
Welcome back to Lady Babylon and Ammon. You know how it goes, people. You're going to get me for 30 minutes of delightful, delightful dirtiness. And then we're going to turn you over to the DI, and he will tell you where you should be if you are what you are. Fantastic. I love the fact that we're here tonight, and I have just a few minutes to go over something with you that is so... Get ready, right? You thought, what else could there be? Oh my goodness, it's going to get dark, and we're going to go to a place that people don't normally go to. But that's exactly why we're doing it. We're doing it because we, like Paul, had to go in deep. We needed that prick. We needed the purple. Yeah. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to take you on an actual trip of Paul the Apostle, where he is discussing. We're right there. He's right there. The ship's coming down. We're getting right there. First century. Here he comes. Here he comes. It's a reign of Nero. What you doing, druggy Paul? What are you doing? That's what we're going to look at tonight. And we're going to look at God. And when I say God, I mean God. We're going to be staring Jehovah right in the eyes tonight, and you are going to be surprised what you find. You're going to be surprised. It's the orientation that matters. Let's see. Hit it, Chewy. We got to first, wait. Before we get to Paul and Jehovah and show you things that people, I promise you, Satanic congregation, people are going to look at this and they're going to say, oh, what do we do? Yeah, it's fantastic. Are you ready? And the fun thing is we get to go right into the cult, right? That's how we get there. You want to see the mystery as it's happening. Are you ready? Right? In another dimension, they look at everybody and they say, oh, you're those nutcases who follow that pedophile. Yes, you do. Come here, Paul. Somebody wants you to get spanked. Where's that? Look what we did. We expanded the universe. My God, I think it was the plant. Seestra, right? Here we go. Paul. Come here. Tonight, it's for you. It's for you, St. Paul. You little servant of Lydia. Oh. Everybody thinks he's so smart. Let's watch him tonight. Let's see where he gets his smarts from. But first, we have some soul sucking to do. I'm so glad to tell you, we've got soul sucking. Are you ready? Pull out your finest. Right, get on the throne. Everybody in the congregation, you know exactly what I'm saying. Get on the throne. Pull out that goblet. Because tonight we're serving up soul. We're serving up soul. It's UFC antiquity. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. You ready? They're looking for challengers now. Yeah. Oh, I'm hungry. I'm hungry as I can be. Give me the first one. Give me the first one. What is that person's? I want to just quick look at this comment before we get to the Dan clips. One of the most interesting interviews I've ever listened to about all of this. This man is dangerous to the current leaders of religions the world over. Ammon Hillman should be taken very seriously. It sounds ominous, doesn't it? But the point here is exactly on. I shouldn't be taken. People shouldn't be looking at me. But these texts reveal a completely different world than the religious world that you and I have had pulled over our eyes. Yeah, it's a new world, baby. Let's look at it through the where are the clips? Did we put the clips in there? Oh, we need another one. Chewy's like, shut up. Gecko boy. Gecko, we love geckos. He did his PhD under Stavrakopoulos. Oh, right. And that's the modern Greek that I heard in his accent, of course, in ancient Greek. I'm about halfway through her book, God. Isn't that amazing? What's your book going to be called? God. We're going to find him tonight. Are you ready? The number of times the 6th century BCE is mentioned, but never a source, right? Right? Number of times it's mentioned, but never a source. Your guy is full of it. Yeah, thank you. What is that? There was a very important point that I wanted to bring out for people. We do not care about theories. We don't care about word salads. Here we care about what the evidence is showing us, the reality. And that's exactly what people are hitting on. It's nothing to do with me. It's everything to do with the muse. The dragon guards that song. That's it. It's the one job. Give it to me. Let's hit Dan. Come here, Dan. It's time for Dan. Let me take a couple of these clips. And people, this is not personal. This is not personal. This is professional. This is the guy that you see tonight who went to dozens of professional conferences where people who have been studying ancient Greek and Latin all their lives, they come in and they wrestle. And you can't mess around, man. You cannot mess around. That's what this is about. I don't want anybody getting taken into the back alley. Good. Let's go for it. Give me a Dan. I want to suck this up. Go.
And then there's 79,945 words in Hebrew in the Hebrew Bible alone. So
79,000?
79,000, yeah. So I think he may have heard 80,000 somewhere.
Oh, 8. He said 8.
Yeah, I think he may have mistook 80 for 8 because the Hebrew Bible itself, which is not all of ancient Hebrew, like there was a lot of Hebrew writing and speaking outside the Hebrew Bible, but the Hebrew Bible itself has 80,000 different words in it.
Right. So who was confused there? We all know it was DuckTales Dan, and he said something that was way off. I don't know where he got 79,995. I don't know where he got those. He pulled those out of some dark, vaporous black hole somewhere, because that's not that. Look, people, what's the point of this? This is not just a game. When you're presenting history to someone and you misrepresent it, that's unsacred. That's something that's befouling the planet. We have to honor the muse of history. Her name is Cleo, Dan. Her name is Cleo. Give us the next one.
And he did correct me on something there. I said it was limited to classical and early Greek lyrical poetry, but it's also in classical and early Greek medical texts. And he pointed that out. So,
oh, he did?
Yeah. Now, that has absolutely no bearing whatsoever on the claim that that's what it means in the New Testament. But
okay.
But it is in medical texts.
Okay. Did you hear the voice of reasoning sneaking in there, and the Renaissance champion coming out of Danny Jones? Did you hear that? Yeah. No, DuckTales Danny is going to continue leading down this road of deception, right? It's when you take the sources and you cram them in the person's face. That's when you know you're in the right place. You as a classicist have done your job. You've just guarded the sources. We don't want to hear what you think. I'm sorry. Dr. P, Dr. L, Oxford, Yale. We don't care in the slightest what you think. We want to know what the evidence is, and we want to understand it for ourselves because we're servants of the muse of history, right? Watch what's happening. A couple more. Let's give a couple more. Go.
Okay. What is the difference between a classical scholar and a biblical scholar?
So a person who studies classics is primarily engaging in the Greek and the Latin literature from the middle of the first millennium BCE down into the first few centuries CE. And I use BCE and CE where people use BC and AD. And so classics doesn't really have a ton of overlap with the Bible, but the people who wrote and transmitted and consumed the New Testament and as well as the Septuagint were also people who engaged with classical literature. And there's a lot of influence from classics on the Bible.
That's not too bad. He's only off about 500 years. So classical philology is the study of Greek and Latin. And our earliest sources are not in the 5th century, right? You've missed half the boat, right? Now, what are you watching happen? This man is an expert who makes his living off of being an expert. Where is the responsibility to the muse? Where's the responsibility that we have? We have an obligation to be accurate. And all you nerdy engineers and all you nerdy computer programmers, you all understand that. The mathematicians, that's the draw. Oh, God, we love it. The musicians they don't even understand, right? And they're the musicians. I love it. But what's the, he's off in the amount of time that we study, but he also makes it sound like we don't study the Bible because we just do classical stuff, right? In Dan's mind, in the mind that works at the university, in the mind that works at the seminary, there is a division in space and time between pagans and non-pagans. Monists live in their own universe, right? We all know that's not true. And that's why studying the Bible is part of studying classics, right? Okay. Isn't it? It's terrible misrepresentation of the actual science. My God, man. Give me the next one.
That second sense, revolutionary insurrectionist, that's the kind of sense that could merit crucifixion.
Oh, that's not even here. You said, yeah, where did you find the revolutionary?
So I'm looking in what scholars affectionately know as BDAG, which is a Greek-English lexicon of the New Testament and other early Christian literature. So it isolates the usage of these words within early Christian literature to show how they're being used in those contexts.
Yeah, but wouldn't that kind of be a biased translation? If Jesus is saying he's not a laestace, they wouldn't want Jesus to be saying he's not a predator.
Look at Danny Jones, right? He got it. He saw right through it. What's the source that you're using, Dan McClellan? You're using a source that was created by a specific group with specific types of agendas. And those words are going to be defined with their agendas in mind. You claim to be a translator, Dan. You should know that. Yeah. So, what do you do? What do you do? You don't listen to those ideas. You go to the text, you go to the sources, and you look at them, and you say, what do they say? Now, the reason I wanted to harp on this is I wanted everybody to see this is typical medieval dark age crappery. Classical studies is the antidote to that death of the Dark Ages, to that stuff that oozes all over your equipment, knocks it out. Your society slows down, stops progressing, starts thinking things that are wild. Wild. We don't go around the sun. God created this place. Right? Okay. The antidote is that classical wisdom. And all it is beautiful, beautiful reason expressed by a language that just, I'm sorry, ladies. I'm sorry, Latin. I'm sorry. She's the most beautiful by far. Now, people are wondering, how many total words does Greek have, right? Last time they checked in the TLG, the giant corpus has 1.77 million. They used to say 20 years ago, oh, it's probably around 500,000, right? Now they're saying, well, with the TLG, it looks like it's much, much higher. That doesn't surprise anyone if you've done anything with this gorgeous, gorgeous pageant winner. I'm sorry. I hate to say that, right? I really hate to say that. But she wins. Hands down. Hands down. Let's just all recognize that. It's why you have grammar. Yes, it's why you even ask questions about your language. Yes, you do that in Greek, right? You just don't realize it because you've stolen Greek, right? You speak this bastardized Anglo-Saxon garbledy-goop. Listen to that. Listen to my inability to find an Anglo-Saxon word that can reach that distant star and pull her down. Okay, it's going to get gross now. Put your splash bags on. Wait, we got one more, Dan? Hit me with the last one of Dan.
Are you familiar with Lucian?
Not very familiar, no. It's been a while.
So he wrote Lucian was another example of a writer. I think this was like 150. I could be wrong here. Steve, you have to fact check me on this. I think it was like 150 BC. Lucian was a poet, and he wrote a story about a guy named Alexander the False Prophet, who was a lay stace. And he's using the context to how Alexander, the context that Lucian uses to describe this guy, Alexander the False Prophet, as this terrible, tyrannical lay stace who's trafficking people and using them as like putting them into like prostitution rings and all kinds of stuff. I think he's using that for the main historical context for that passage in Mark where Jesus says, "I'm not a lay stace."
Yeah, that's...
So that wouldn't be relevant to what was going on the ground in that part of the world.
Because we're talking 200 years later, 200 plus years later, and a different part of the world and a different type of literature altogether.
Can you Google Lucian so we can actually get the real story about what his deal was? Yeah. So this is saying he was 125 to 180 AD. Right. Okay. So roughly about 100 years and change after.
Well,
Jesus.
less than that for the actual composition of the Gospels. So their Gospels are 70 CE to maybe 125 CE.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So that's
around the same
closer
time.
in time. Yeah, it's much similar, but
so it turns out, look, there are certain advantages of being able to open portals. Look at how it worked out. Originally, the thought was, first of all, he didn't know who Lucian was. Right, that's pretty, okay, he was only a minor in classical Greek, so he probably didn't have that. He probably had like one semester, and it was like a survey, and they probably didn't do Lucian, right? Right, this isn't a dude who's been reading Greek for the last 35 years. Right, or however long he's been out of training. I don't know. Yeah, but do you hear it? People of Ammon, do you hear the grade of professional behavior? Do you hear the level of what it is either rising to or falling to? Yeah. Do you hear that? Okay. Lucian, you don't know him. Okay. Well, you think. Here's the question then. Tell me why the lay stays in Lucian is so different from the lay stays in Jesus's mouth in Matthew and Luke. Tell me. When we talk about the lay stays, and those two that hung with him, the lay stai that are hanging next to him in Mark. That one's in Mark. Tell me, what's the difference? Well, Dan says, look, that's 200 years difference because he thinks, because he doesn't know. Watch how quickly someone in a trench coat is willing to embrace a fabrication, right? He doesn't know. He's not from the 2nd century. He's from BC. He's from the 2nd century AD, right? And early in that, for that matter. Yeah. What's going to happen then? Well, Dan's going to discover, he's going to discover that he's going to have to scoop up that pile of poop that he just defecated in front of you. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to get your science from someone who is willing to engage fiction? I don't want somebody like that testifying in court either. This is the classical standard, and classical philologists will hold you to this. Don't BS me. I don't want to hear your stupid ideas. What's your text? Yeah, it becomes annoying after a while. But if you want to be an investigator, you have a certain professional standard to uphold, right? Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. Let's go to the first of our venture tonight. I just wanted you guys to see this one more time, just so we can put this baby to rest. 7,000 words. Look, the head of the Language Academy at Hebrew University, who sets the standards for modern Hebrew, says ancient Hebrews only got 7,000 words. Okay, fine. So the disparity between 7,000 and 1,770,000, that's what we need to remember and focus on as we're learning. Go. Give me the next one. Here's the passage we're going to begin with tonight, people. It's that passage from Revelation. I'm just going to translate it out. And I counsel you to go to the marketplace and pick yourself up gold that's been purified in the fire so you may be rich. And while you're there, pick up a white gown. Throw it upon your nakedness. And what else? You ought to buy a collyrion and enchrist your eyes in order that you may see. That's the text. That's the medicine. It's not separate. The medicine and the religion are the same. Salvation is a medical term. Now let's go to that party I promised you we would go to. Give me the next one. Give me the next one. Let's go to the party. Here's the enchrysting. Here's the enchrysting. Everybody, since it's Ammon, you focus. Look at the 3rd, 4th, and 5th letters. That's from chrio, the verb chrio. It's the root chri for that stinging. The stuff you're putting in your eyes. We're at the right. And you know the first thing they're doing to you? They made you drink something. And to be honest, it's calming you down. But now they're putting stuff in your eyes and it burns like hell. Give me the next one. It burns like hell. And it's purple. Watch this, people. Watch this. We've seen the anointing as in the application of the drug. Look at the term that's under number 2. You still get in the chrio. You still get the element of the stinging. The stinging. What kind of stinging do you want us to have, Ammon? Look at the end of that first line after pass. It says, Eos in Christes. Eos in Christes. What are you doing? You're Christing yourself with poison. And that word for poison, eos, that also is the word for arrow, because they're putting the poison on their arrow. And it's also the word for snake venom. Snake venom. Fantastic. Fantastic. Ooh, don't you love it? Now, look at the very bottom word in the middle of that. It says kentron. That's the thorn, baby. And when Paul is doing his thing. Where's Paul? Let's get high with Paul. Bring him in. Bring him in. Yep, there we are. Oh, God. I forgot God. I forgot God. These couple of verses, people, I want you to understand, because it sounds like I'm crazy when I say something like the Bible was originally written all in Greek. The Septuagint is the oldest form of the text. That any Hebrew copies that came later, like starting the first, those copies are copies. Those are not originals. Those are copies from the Greek. A failed and terrible and pathetic attempt to translate a language that had become a monstrous beauty. A language that had become a monstrous beauty. Oh, God. And what did this language say when it was being used to compose the book of Ezekiel? It said, look, I'm God, and I'm not going to send you to any group of people who has that complicated, multi-vocabulary language that you don't understand. Israel. Okay? God himself has a thing about his own child's language. Everybody knows God is witnessing. Hebrew is not the technically savvy language that Greek is. Straight up. Okay? God's language. Yeah. Apollo's language. You ought to see Galen's public demonstrations. That's what we're doing. If people are like, hey, what are you doing? Getting into the arena with people like Dan McClellan and what's his name? Kip, and with Kip over on the Dead Sea Scrolls side. What are you doing? Getting into it. Listen, Galen was an educated physician who went to Pergamum to get his education, and he traveled all over the place, ended up in Rome, and you know what he did? He challenged the greatest minds in medicine of his day, and he challenged them to public debates, and he wiped the floor with them. And in wiping the floor with these orthodox idiots, he brought the new science. And he changed medicine in a way that it would stay changed for centuries. Oh, God. And where did he get there? He got there because he challenged knuckleheads who pretended to know something. And Galen's always like, those friggin' charlatans, those people, you and your sect. You ought to read Hippocrates sometimes, you morons. That's what Galen was. He was doing all over the place. Anyway, he became the head physician and gave Marcus Aurelius his compound theriac, right? That same thing that Jesus was taking when he was arrested in a public park with a naked kid at 4 a.m. Mark 14:51 and 52. Let's make sure we get to Paul because it's going to get dirty. Wow. Yes. Absorb that image. Oh, love it. Love it. Thank you, Chewy, for the images, by the way. There's some quite. Let's note this one. Boom. Boom. Okay, people, what do I want to bring you? What do I want to bring you? I want to bring you one more Christing. And this is a Christing that is taking place in one of our oldest recorded oracles. Yeah, one of our oldest. This is Medea working. And what does it say? It says she is drugging them with that pain-reducing antidote. And she's giving it to them to Christ themselves with. Do you see the second word in the second line? Christai. Okay. Okay. All right, give me the next one. I want to show you a couple of things. Boom. Why is that important? Watch this, people. Listen to this verb. This is pharmakao, right? And what does it mean? To suffer the effects of drugs or charms. Suffer the effects of drugs or charms. Usually the sex drugs are the ones they're talking about when the Victorians translated as charms. Charms make things excitable. Are you charmed? Look at number 2, require a remedy. So wait a minute. You mean it means the action of suffering the effects of a drug also means to require a remedy. Do you see what's going on in the ancient pharmacy? And this is what I love telling people most because nobody studies this. It's fun. The pharmacy is complex polypharmaceutical. So they're using a bunch of drugs to combine with to make one drug that they can use to fight another drug. It's not fighting it, it's balancing it. Did you want to see the visions? Let's get to Paul. Let's get to Paul. When he starts making love to God, don't tell me that, that nobody believes me. Nobody believes me. Can we jump down really quick? I hate to do this. We'll come back, but I want to jump down to right there. Pull that up. People, I promised you this, and I know most people, you know, they want the goodies. This is a spell for a man to obtain a male lover. Now, normally what I do is I bring you our ancient texts in Greek, but this one is Coptic, and I don't even look at Coptic, so I wouldn't dare, right? I learned my lesson from watching Ammon and Dan, right? If you don't study that language, don't say anything about it because you're going to look really goofy. When the tide turns and all of a sudden the guy's contemporary, and you should know the term lay stace. It's exactly the same time they're writing the Gospels. Is it relevant? Yeah, it is. Well, the other thing Dan said is it can't be in the same region, right? It's from a different part of the world. No, it's not. Lucian was a Syrian who ends up in Egypt. That's exactly surrounding Judea. Yes, it was perfectly. Did you like that? You know what it takes to generate a hole like that? Oh my God. Let's do this. What is this spell for a man to obtain a male lover? Look, people, it's a Coptic text. And it is. So what we have is basically an Egyptian writing that has been influenced by a Greek culture and is using Greek terminology. They're using these spells. By the way, these are Christian and Jewish spells. Christian and Jewish spells. Still using those Greek powerhouses that taught them how to perform the magic. They're still using them. Watch what happens here. This text contains a same-sex love spell commissioned by one hoo-ha to bind another hoo-ha. Right? We don't care what they're named. They're lovers. Good. This name literally means the old man and the monk. Right? Well, do we need to know that? I don't know if we need that. By means of a variety of powerful utterances. Rus. 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 Now, I told you there are Greek concepts all through these things. This is one of them. The rus is the running that you have from your body. It is your seed or your ejaculation. Like your gonorrhea is that running that you get when you are infested with the things that cause you to run from your privies. Yes. Here's to the Brits for coming up with words that don't sound dirty but are privy members. Oh, God. Give me put your privy member. Privies. Now, what do I say when I'm trying to attract my gay lover? Right? It's kind of nice. That's all that matters. The hoo-ha details don't matter. Give me the very bottom. The next slide, I mean. Give me the next one. Boom. Watch this, people. Watch this. Who is this that we are invoking? Look at the second line. We're talking about the power of Yahweh Sabaoth. Who is that? You know who that is? That's Jehovah. That's Jehovah. I told you they were Jewish spells. That's Jehovah. What does Jehovah do? Jehovah brings together gay lovers. Did you make a picture of that? That's what Jehovah does. Okay? And you think to yourself, what a world. Is that being embraced? This is a part of the magic. So at very least, we know that Jewish society at the time that this was written in fully embraced. Yeah, fully embraced one person's desire for a same-sex relationship. The fact that it is magic does not say that it was on the down low. The fact that it was magic says that this process of performing these rites was saturated with spells just like this, actions just like this. When we meet to perform magic, we know there are sex spells. There are spells in there for Christian men to inseminate Christian women. Did you know that? Wow. Did you know you can do things to people in their dreams? And the Christians are the ones who are piloting the dream vessels. Don't you want vision? What do you think apocalypse is? Let's go to Paul. He wants vision. He says he wants vision. Go back up to where we go back up to where we'll come back to that. Go back up to where we skipped. Who do we skipped over somebody. Here was the second verb for the pharmakao. Now, before it was pharmakao, and this is pharmakao. Are you ready? That means to medicate, and it gives us the very little reference that we had there. But then I want you to look at number 2. It's also used of an arrow, and it's used of that really weird witchy thing that people do when they get bewitched and they get all excited. Do you know what happens when you get excited? When you get filled with the God? Oh, we're going to see the purple haze coming up. I'm serious. Purple haze, baby. I brought it for you. Give me the next one. Oh my God. What is the antitome? It's just the antidote, right? I just wanted you people to know I'm not making this up. Look, antidote. Whee! Right? I want you to look at one medical author. His name is Paul of Aegina. Now, modern Greeks say Aegina, right? Paul of Aegina. This is him. And he's a physician. He's a physician, a Byzantine physician. He's not just a Byzantine physician. He's an encyclopedist, or he's somebody who laid down like all of the principles of medicine. Here's where his little hometown, there's the island. Woo, nice, gorgeous, right? Paul, good for you, making a living. Go, hit the next one. What does he say? I just want you to see a text that you'll never see. Nobody's ever going to show you this, ever. You can go to Oxford. You're not going to see this, guaranteed. What is he talking about? This is in a section I was reading that talks about what do you do for adenoids? What do you do for tonsils, right, when they get infected? And he talks about here, look, you've got to make this trochisk, this little pastille, this little pill, and it's got to be of amber, and then you have to take, what else do you got to compound it together, and you got to have that limnian earth, right? And you make the seals. Oh, look, we've been here. He's doing the same stuff Galen was talking about, right? Oh, that's fantastic. And what do? We employ it this way after we add some blah, blah, blah. Okay. What I wanted you to see is that he is actively involved in using the terms that you see scattered all over the New Testament and Old Testament. Okay, he's using those still. He's a Byzantine doctor, and they are still using them. They used them before the Bible. They used them after the Bible. Let's go to the next one. Dan will never know. He won't know who these people are. Look, people, just look at just peruse this sometimes and pause it and just peruse it. He says at the top here, this is from his, what is this? The 5th book, it says. It says, in this 5th book, are all these principles written out on the theriacs and the alexipharmaca. Those are the theriacs and the antidotes, you could translate that as. And all, to all these crazy species that they're dealing with. The first one is, you're guarding against the just in general poison, right? Things that are poisonous. But he goes through this list and you're going to see a whole bunch of spiders and snakes, scorpions, right? Oh, just a whole bunch of different types of venoms. Oh my God. There's the one they're using in the religious rites that gives you the thirst. There's the deep sauce. You Freemasons out there, you Freemasons who want it, you're this close. You need the sting. Give me the next one. Let's just keep charging. Oh yeah, this is what you do when you ekplaso. Watch this, people. You can drive out of your mind. You can be driven out of your senses, right? There's a whole set of vocabulary that is influenced by medicine and antiquity, right? And that doesn't live behind a wall. Like, I'm not talking about the same thing as going to a hospital and listening to doctors using their own jargon, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the common person in the street has no barrier of separation between these words in Greek that are highly, highly charged medical words and any other use of them that's not medical. There is no separation. When you say Christ, you are envisioning a drug that is stinging you to madness. That is the Christ. Okay, the Christ is stung to madness, and we have examples of it outside Jesus, right? We looked at Medea, we looked at her whole business, right? Good, she's the founder, right? She's the one who made it. And can I just say, for those of you who are concerned for the virgins, I know you're concerned for the virgins, and you understand that Jesus Christ was performing actions that were contrary in that to tradition of the Orphic mysteries, because you don't want to go there. You don't want to be there with that boy that Jesus is arrested with. You don't want to be performing those acts that Jesus is performing on the boy, just like he didn't want to. Oh, take it away from me. Right? You get this. Do you understand that as you go into the desert and have access to Satan, you understand why the trial is so heavy? It's so heavy. Let's watch a couple of these idiots go through this. All right. Here we go. Now look, Paul says, here he is. Everybody, here's Paul. He's about to do his thing. You thought it would be preaching or maybe an ice cream social. No. He's going to get ripped with a dude. Intimately ripped. And he's going to fly to the third heaven. You ever been to the third heaven? Oh, God. What does he say? He says, I don't mean to brag, right? From all of these visions. I don't mean to brag, right? But because nobody should brag, I was given a skolops in my flesh. I was given a thorn in my flesh. And you know what that thorn is? That thorn is an angelos satana. Wait, did Paul just say, by way of a skolops, he has access to an angel called Satan? This isn't an angel of Satan. This is an Satan angel. Oh, do you know what that is? He's sitting on the throne in order. Why? Why is he given this? Because God likes to slap him around. He likes to slap him around. Give me the next one. Okay, are you there? We're getting crazy with Paul. Don't worry about it. What is that, skolops? It's anything pointed. Yeah, that's why I say thorn, right? And they say thorn too. Look at the very middle of this page, though. Under number 2, if you look at the Greek on the third line, it says skolopes. That's the plural, right? Thorns. What kind of thorns? Phoinikos. Do you know what kind of thorns you take that gets you to the third heaven? You take the Phoenician purple thorn and you fly with God in love. What? Yeah, it gets kind of strange. Like, why do we have to have the sexual part? Paul's dirty, bro. Paul's dirty, dirty, dirty. He's very clear with the intimacy level that he and this dude are having. Right? Where's that spell? Where's that spell by the name of Jehovah? When you say Jehovah's name, do you know what you're endorsing? You are endorsing the love of the same sex. If you had a 2nd, 3rd, 4th century rabbi practicing his magic, you're going to find Jehovah being invoked to grab a hold of that other rabbi and to bring him in. You want to see it? You want to see it happening? Watch this. Give me the one that we skipped. Go down. Yeah, maybe that one. There it is. Who is this that we're talking about? Let's just read it together. Blow it up, Chewy. Yet I am Cyprian, the great magician. This is 3rd century. Who was the friend of the dragon of the abyss. What? He called me his son, and I called him father. He placed his crown and his diadem on my head. I suckled milk at his right breast, and all of you looked at me when I told you Jesus Christ is wearing a bra. Like, what? It's because he gives milk, baby. He gives milk. Now, this next part, I can't vouch for this next part, right? He made me a place at his right hand. That sounds cool, but he subjected me to every power of his. I'm not quite sure what that means. And if you told me, what's he going to do to me? Well, first you're going to this, and then he's going to subject you to every form of power he's got. I don't know. I ascended. What happened, Paul? This is not Paul. This is Cyprian. No. This is Paul and Cyprian and Jesus. This is the performance of classical religion. Cyprian is right. Cyprian is deep in the magic as anyone else. Maybe that's why they say he had serpent venom coming out of his backside. Yeah, he did. Look it up. They caught him in a graveyard with 2 prostitutes. Why? Why do you need the sex? It's part of the rite, bro. There's a reason Jesus Christ was arrested with a naked kid in a public park. What happened next? The person who is in the rite ascends up to the Pleiades, and they glided by under me like a ship, right? I learned the whispers of the stars. Of course you did. There's nothing more Orphic than that. I took possession of the treasuries of the winds. Do you know what the oldest hymns are in the mystery? The Western mystery, the mystery of the Bronze Age that gave you Judaism and Christianity along with hundreds of other cults. Do you want to know what happened at the birth of that? They wrote hymns to the winds. Yeah, Medea's famous for it. Her hymns to the winds. Now, if you're into the magic, you get it. If you don't, you don't. I mastered the whole of astronomy. Right, and then we get into, but all this did me no good. With a virgin named Justina. Oh, God, now he's going to get into it with her. He gets obsessed, right? So what are you going to do when you're obsessed with a virgin? You bewitch her. You drug her. Isn't that nice? Think of a world where dating involves not the giving of candy, but the Bill Cosby-esque giving of drugs. Yes. Did you know you can give somebody a drug that will cause them to become attracted to you? Wow. That's fantastic. Let's give me the next one. Give me the next one. You mean God is gay? Very much so. Very much so, right? Look, he's the one that you go to, right? If you pray to him for war, he's Mars, right? If you pray to him for fruit, he's Priapus. If you pray to him for homosexual activity, he's Jehovah. Let it sink in. Let it sink in. What's the stuff they told us? It doesn't seem correct. That's what happens when you allow monists to control your education. You get a fairy tale world. You get Disneyland. Oh my God. What's going to happen? He's going to lead them. Look, he says, I can't brag, but I got a lot to say about these visions and these apocalypses that I'm being given by God, the Lord. Wait, Paul is having visions. Yes, I just want you to look at that second line. That in Greek, optasias. What is that? That is a word that is the closest word to hallucination as you and I understand it. In the Greek mind, it was a vision or an appearance of someone that was not actually there. It's only seen from the perspective of the one who's describing it. It's the closest thing we've got to hallucination. And then revelations, those apocalypses that Paul is going through, that is a prophetic marking of time, right? That's an oracular gift. So he's getting these hallucinations and these comprehensions of time. Give me the next one. Boom. And what else is happening? Look, these are Paul's words. I want everybody to envision for one moment Paul, the apostle. And by the way, if you did not realize yet, I'll throw this in there as a curveball because I don't think many people have realized this. I don't spend a ton of time with Paul besides reading him frequently. And he is obsessed with children. He likes to go with the young'uns. They like to take them on their missionary journeys. Well, there's nothing, I can assure you, that is not regular that he is involved with. Yeah. Okay. Let's see the next one. Boom. Give it to me. You know what's funny is an evangelical can't argue around any of this because it's just what the text is saying. Here's what Paul says. He says, I recognized a dude. This dude, he was this kind of dude. And what did he do? He says, I don't know if it was outside of my body, right? I don't know if it was in my body. The only one who knows is God. But I knew this dude. Give me the next one. What do you mean you knew him? What do you mean? Were you familiar with him? Well, let me explain, says Paul. Let me explain. I was grabbed up and jammed into paradise, and I heard things that are unspoken. I heard those things that you shall not speak. Yeah. Give me the next one. What's going on, Paul? Listen, I'm going to tell you, I'm the man. And my Hades is your antidote. My Hades is your cure. The power is in your weakness. The power is in your catatonia. The power is in your total release. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead as Paul. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to take pride in my state of weakness. Yeah, because the power of Christing is making me crazy. What is it doing? It's episkenose. It's what? It's infiltrating my brain. The Christ is infiltrating my mind. power of the purple. And remember, I, Paul, get bitten by poisonous vipers and have no reaction, just like Jesus said. He said, it's not going to hurt you. These drugs aren't going to get to you. I wouldn't suggest licking any part of these people. Do you understand? Contact is enough to spread this stuff, right? It doesn't take much to, you know what I mean? Give me the next one. Boom. What's this hottest? You say, look, Paul's man, long story short, Paul's man is God. He ends up being God, right? And his hottest is enough for Paul. Now, every Christian says, oh, don't be dirty. It's not dirty. It's just the word grace. Here it is. Outward grace, favor, or beauty. Oh, it must just be what? Just my beauty. Maybe he's just saying my hotness is good enough for you, baby. Right? No, take a look. If you've been reading this stuff with your life, watch what your sweat produces. Give me the next one. You know there's a medical connotation. And what is it? Surprise, surprise. It's in Lucian. Nice. The love charm, baby. Do you know what your hottest is? It's that thing that makes you aroused. Do you know why Aphrodite is always accompanied by hottest? Yeah, I don't either, but I want to be there. Why? Because you and I have been messing with love drugs. You and I know what that thorn in the flesh does. A lot of you, you know, you see the hippies, and you see the hippies getting involved with drugs, and you see the hippies getting involved with the sex, and you think to yourself, those dirty hippies. It looks like the hippies are drawing on some kind of quantum reality that joins the action of whatever the drugs are doing to your brain with the sex. Huh. Interesting. Is that why when you enter the rite and they put you into the death state within a state of arousal, that they will force you into coming to climax while you're dying? That must be quite a thing to undergo. It's no wonder they all come back and they're like, "Oh my God, wish I'd have done that years ago." Yeah, some kind of revelation. The beast bears up that cup held by Lady Babylon. Yeah, go for it. Next one. Let's get the good. Let's get to the goodies. Give me the next one. Look at what is ostenosis that Paul is undergoing. It's a weakness or a faintness, right? When his love magic is strong enough for Paul, Paul will be in a state of complete weakness, inability. You don't know the right. You've never been to the third heaven until you've entered that ostenosis. Give me the next one, just in case you doubt. Look at asthenikos, right? It's just it's an adjectival form, right? And it means weakly. And look what's right next to that. Okay, ready? I'm gonna pop that false reality in your brain. What does it to mean to be in that weakly state? It means to be paidion. Unless you come to me, paidion, you have no place in the kingdom of heaven. You won't make it. You won't make it. The rite requires. And that's why Jesus has to be the way he is. He's got to hide what's going on, because these are all the rites of the initiates. These are the mystery rites. These are those baptisms that we hear so much about. You mean baptism is sexual? Yeah, and it involves some dyes. Yeah, good. Hit me with the next one. Boom. And finally, asthenopsychos. Look, you can even, and surprise, the Septuagint is the source here. You can even be in that state of weak-mindedness Think about that for a minute. You're going to combine that asthenia. And we use this word today in medicine, myasthenia gravis, right? Same thing. Same root. You can be a weakened soul. Think about that for a minute. What does that mean to have your soul weak? Have your soul weak. You have to enter in to this position of death. You have to enter into it. It's part of the, if you don't have death, you don't have resurrection, right? Is that person aroused? Yeah, that person's aroused. Give me the next one. Boom. Now, I want to read this passage to you, and I know people look at this and they're like, holy crap, it's an hour. We're an hour into this. He's got a gigantic passage. Yeah, but this is going to go fast. I'm just going to read it to you fast and show you a couple of things. Now, Paul says, it was in there somewhere. I think I may have skipped it. But Paul says, hey, this is how I got to that third heaven, right? He doesn't know if it was in body or out of body, right? Have you ever had one of those experiences where you're like, oh, God, did that really happen, right? And you're not just intellectually questioning it, but you actually are like kind of foggy about, you know what I mean? That's part of the experience. Paul is suffering the same side effects, right? The same mental haze. They describe it as the mental fog. Yeah, he's got it. So that is one right, which involves you and God one-on-one in a homosexual relationship, in a place that will take you, thanks to that Hades, will take you all the way to that visionary third heaven. If you want to go there, you're going to have to do certain things. Cyprian is going to get caught in the cemetery with snake venom coming out of his butt. Right? Certain sacrifices you got to make if you want that vision. All right, good. You know, it's the one thing Paul said that he had, right? Everything else was fine. He had some trouble rationalizing it. That's all. Let me give you this. This is about Phineas. And I just want to read here from the top. And he reverenced not a whit even Zeus himself, for he foretold unerringly. Phineas is a prophet. He's one of these drug-using prophets, and we're about to see him doing his drug-using thing. For he foretold unerringly to men his sacred will, right? He exposed Zeus all the time. Wherefore Zeus sent upon him a lingering old age, and took from his eyes the pleasant light. He took from his eyes the light, and suffered him not to have joy of the dainties untold that the dwellers around ever brought to his house when they came to inquire the will of heaven. You want to go find out what the future is? Hang out with Phineas and bring him some lovelies. Well, what happened? Right? What happened? He had his light taken out of his eyes. Now, this is very, very common. You might think, oh, this was the one punishment of Zeus on this guy Phineas. No. The seers are always blind. And haven't you noticed that? The seers are always blind. And the better their sight, the less their vision. The ones who are strongest in vision are totally blind. Why? Because when you use the burning purple, it blinds you. It's a sacrifice you make. In order to see the reality, you have to destroy your own eyes. If your eyes are full of light, oh God, you mean these wackos are doing this? No wonder he needs glasses. What happened? He's on a sudden swooping through the clouds whenever he was at his banquets, getting high and talking about the future. The harpies with their crooked beaks incessantly snatched the food away from his mouth and hands. And at times, not a morsel of food was left. At others, but a little, in order that they might live and be tormented. And they poured forth over all a loathsome stench. Do you know what happens when you mix these drugs with the foods that you're taking? You lose the flavor of life. And he's stuck He's stuck. Why are these harpies doing this? And who are the harpies? You know who a harpy is? Do you have a picture of a harpy? Chewy? Probably not. Give me, who knows? The harpies, what do they look like? Yeah, they are those ladies who rip your soul from your body. Now, if you've never had a woman rip your soul from your body, I'm sorry. No vision for you. Don't worry about it. You don't need to have the concerns that Zeus is going to want to bash you because you know the future. Yeah, you don't want to, but that's okay. That's okay. If you haven't had the harpies, you haven't had the harpies. Let's keep. Oh no, you didn't find it. Blow that up. Blow that up. Are we on? Yeah. And so what happens? But all of a sudden, they swoop down, right? And the harpies, they give you the. Remember, we're seeing these harpies, right? We're with Paul. We're hallucinating. We have those visions, those apocalypse. You should have paid Jabba. You should have paid Jabba, Chewy. I told you. Okay, I think we're back. Motion to me if we're there, people. Are you alive? Am I alive? Okay. A fart? Oh, God. All right. Look what happens. I leave for 5 minutes. You start talking about farts. Put up the screen. Redirect this conversation. I just want to finish this. And at times, not a morsel of food is left, and they poured forth this loathsome stench. And no one dared not merely to carry the food to the mouth, but even to stand at a distance. So foully reeked the remnants of the meal. But straightway, when he heard the voice, wait, what? And the tramp of the band, he knew that they were the men passing by at whose coming Zeus's oracle had declared to him that he should have joy of his food. So he rose up from his couch like a light. How did he get up? Right? Remember Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane? This is the same. This is the same action. The attempt to move, stumbly bumbly. Right? Delusive. Imagine if you're delusive and confused and you're trying to walk around. Yeah, you stumbly. This is how Phineas is. It's the way the prophets get, people. I'm not saying this. They're saying this. Okay, let's open it up. I can't see it. It's too small. Okay, and what happens? And he came forth from the no, and he moved. His limbs trembled with weakness and age, and his parched skin was caked with dirt, and naught but the skill held his bones together. And he came forth from the hall with wearied knees, and he sat on the threshold of the courtyard, and a dark stupor covered him. What covers your prophets? A dark stupor. What is that? Can we see that? Let's just throw it out. Maybe there's some. Can we find some purple? Yes. Can we find some purple? Here it is in the Greek. Karos de min amphekalypsin porphyreos. This purple haze hid him in mental darkness. And when he walked, felt like the earth was moving around. Yeah. So he laid down and entered into his coma. All right. Do you see the visions that are happening? They're happening to people who are stumbly, bumbly, entranced, ecstatic, and seeing things, namely the third heaven. Hit me with the next one. That anaudos, by the way, at the bottom, that anaudos, this is what the person is who is under the influence. Oh, by the way, the kados is just that heavy sleep. Notice they put torpor. So the purple haze that you're in, right? That is a state of torpor. Torpor. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Give me the next one. And watch this. Almost done. What is the anaudos that you become? Now, a lot of people would say, for the Greek people here tonight, you would say, hey, this is the alpha privative. Look at that first alpha. It's the alpha privative that negativizes what's going to follow it. And you got to have a new there because you can't say audos. Sounds bad. So you say anaudos, right? And what is audos? It's just that speech. But this is not simply someone without speech. That is someone who is aphonos. Nothing is coming out. What is an anaudos? It's somebody who can speak, but their articulations are not proper. You can't understand them. What's that dude saying? I don't know. He's blah, blah, blah. I don't know. That guy's had so many drugs. You see that purple stuff coming out of his eyes, and he's got all those thorn pricks in him. This guy is a junkie extraordinary. He must be one of those Christs. He must be. Paul is becoming a Christ. You didn't know it, did you? You didn't know there was a love affair between you and Jehovah, did you? But there is. Watch what happens. This stuff is unspeakable. Keep going. Do you know why Paul says he can't say certain things about the unspeakable things that he learned? Because not everybody follows the mysteries. No. You mean Judaism at its core, Christianity at its core, is an attempt to cover up sexual unions blessed by Yahweh Sabaoth. Yes. Maybe those vestals aren't looking so bad. You know, they have to stay virgins. Do you know why vestals have to stay virgins? Because that flame goes out. That flame goes out. When you accomplish the race, the flame goes out. You need the person. Remember, she's a poet. And you need that poet in that state. They used to say, keep the lover at a distance from her. Never able to reach, but close enough to be seen so that the desire drives your poetry. Were those sons of, were they clever or what? That's fantastic. That's gorgeous. Give me the next one. We're almost done. Boom. Yep. Oh, no. You know what? I'm late. And you know what being late is? Late gets my goat. Did we do that one? Yeah. No, that's okay. I said goat, so you brought up Penelope. Penelope, we love you. Say hello to everybody that's here tonight. And why do I show Penelope? Penelope is a gift. If you look at her cross and you imagine that the cross is covering a multitude of your sins, you'll understand what the rite is all about. Praise Jesus. Hail Satan. Give me the next one. Boom. I think we're done. Is that? Yeah. Yeah, we did that. Okay. I'm going to bring in, look, tonight at Ammon, I'm going to bring in your drill sergeant, but he's only going to be here for a few minutes because he's going to tell you how you're doing and he's going to tell you what you need to do to continue to succeed. So let's all sing happy birthday to, actually, you know what I'd like to do? Instead of singing happy birthday, because Chewy and Teddy have spent so much time on these videos. Could we watch that intro one more time? Could we watch the intro and then we'll watch the exit right after the DI is done? Give me that intro.
Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication.
Perfume intoxication, music of the Antichrist, ballad of the root cutters, ballerina come to see ya, Thanatos with love Athena, adrenochrome into your domain and end the war. I'm vying for peace. All things hidden will be revealed. I'm Freddy Krueger with the purple stone. Hail Satan, Medusa's home. I'm in the twilight zone and roots I cut and grow 'em. Death bubba, you toke it. Take 2 hits and hold it. The witch, she keep you loaded. So good they want Momo it. I spit dragon venom through hell into the heavens. Hot fire is purple. I'm with the ashy ashmen, where the horses ride, flying through the night. I'm here for the promises. You'll feel alright. It's a policy. She keeps it tight. Got the costume on all night. I'm with the fumigation company.
Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication.
All right. Thank you for coming tonight to the dojo. I know I've been getting a lot of your email. I've been looking over what you're doing. I want to make a couple of announcements. There are groups that are on Discord, groups of my former students who have gone through the intensive course, and they are setting up aids. They're very much like aid stations where you can be helped, whether it's with the alphabet, whether it's with vocabulary, whether it's with the pronunciation that we insist on at Ammon U, whether it's those things. They're helping you through those things. And I know a lot of people have commented on how helpful it is to my former students like Nancy and Old Boy, who are working on helping people to be able to make it through the obstacle courses that we have to run. Now, where are you? You are done with Unit 1. You read through the introduction. You read through Unit 1. You did the exercises in Unit 1, and you were able to say, okay, what I can do at this point, I can recognize basic words, and I can work with nouns a little bit. I can work with nouns. Good. We did nouns. Fantastic. What is coming up over the next 2 weeks? What you will be expected to do is to read Unit 2. You will read it, not just once, read it a couple of times. Read through it and then go to the vocabulary list. What do? Just read it. All you're doing is exposing your brain to the Greek, right? Now, don't sit there and try. Don't sit there and try. Let it come natural. Let Mother Greek come to you. Let her embrace you, right? That's how it works. Go to it and look at the beauty. Look at the beauty of the words. Look at the sexiness of that vocabulary list and everything that it tells you about your terrible, terrible language. Anglo-Saxon, if that's what you're speaking. Yeah. Okay. So here's what I need for you to do. Unit 2 is the first of a 2-unit section on verbs. What are verbs? What are verbs? This is all you need to know. There we go. We're back. Verbs are words of action or being. And by the way, those of you, look, it's the internet, okay? It kind of makes it quirky. You love it. I know you do. If you love the fact that it looks like I'm using a camera that's 100 years old, please say that, right? But it's the way it is. So look, what do you have to do? You have to be able to recognize what a verb is. And what is a verb? A verb is an action or a state of being. That's all I want you to think. An action or a state of being. And this chapter, chapter 2, we're going to learn the basic components of the verb. How do we describe verbs? Verbs can be described by words like person, number, tense, mood, and voice. Person, number, tense, mood, and voice. Now, do you have to be thinking about this? No, and I don't want you to be thinking. But if I thought about this stuff, I would have never made it through Greek. First semester, never. Okay. Do I want you to be thinking about it? Absolutely not. I want you to be able to tell me. You can describe verbs by their person, number, tense, mood, and voice. What is their person? First, second, or third? Shut up. That's all you need to know. What is their number? Singular or plural? What are their tenses? We're about to teach you tenses, and you're going to say past, present, and future. Shut up. What are the tenses that you need to know? Present, imperfect, future, aorist, perfect, and pluperfect. There were 6 of those that you will know by the end of Unit 3. Present, imperfect, future, aorist, perfect, pluperfect. What are those? The present, I do. The imperfect, I was doing. The future, I will do. The perfect, I have done. The pluperfect, I had done. The aorist, I did. Fantastic. Okay, that's all you need to know. For tenses, all you need to recognize are those 6 names and how to translate them. And the book will tell you how to translate each one of those. So that's tense. What is mood? Right now, you only need to know one mood, and that's called the indicative. All verbs have an indicative mood, and it's the majority of the ways that the verb is used. You're just indicating something. Okay? That's all you need to know for now. Indicative. Right? What about voice? There are 3 voices. We're only going to know one for now. It's called the active voice. But we're also learning in the future the middle and the passive. There is no true middle voice in English. Why is that? Because English, unlike ancient Greek, does not focus on the perspective of the speaker. The Greeks are overly obsessed with the speaker, the one who is performing the action or having the action performed on it. That individual, they're obsessed with. It's like they can't stop. Put yourselves in the place of the speaker, right? I wonder, is that a mark of intelligent language? I think it is. Did you know there are some intelligent languages and there's some dummy languages, right? People are going to be like, oh, no, you can't say that. Yeah, you're saying that because you speak one of those dummy languages. Fantastic, right? Know who you are, right? Know who you are. So those are what you need to know from the verb. Person, number, tense, mood, and voice. And you're going to get all of the examples. First person singular, I. Second person singular, you. Third person singular, he, she, it. First person plural, we. Second person plural, you. Third person plural, they. It's all in the book. And it'll lay that out for you. Why? Because what we're going to do, and here's where you need to focus. What we're going to do when we learn verbs is we're going to understand as a group that a verb is a machine and it can do many different things. And all you got to do is you got to change its ending, maybe put something on the beginning. Okay? Think about that. We're going to take an action like kicking and we're going to say, I don't want to say I'm kicking now. I want to say I kicked yesterday. You change the ending a little bit. Slap something on the beginning and you got I kicked instead of I am kicking. All right. Well, what if I want to put it in the future? You change the ending and you make it a future ending so that people can see, oh, this is kicking in the future. Right. What if I want him to kick? What if I want our entire group to kick? Why can't we kick? Well, it's easy. Change the ending. Everything with the verb is dialed in from the ending. Yeah. And so what you're going to do, that's called conjugation. When you take that ending and you put it together with that root, oh God, what do you happen? You conjugate. Let's conjugate. Don't you love to conjugate? We're going to be doing that with our verbs. And our verbs, the last thing I want to get across to you tonight, because I know you're just going to be starting to read Unit 2. The last thing I want to get across to you is there is a savvy way that the verbs have of acting. they can slide in and out of tenses very easily. Right? There's a lot of wiggle room. And the reason the Greek is that way is because when you hear that entire word and you hear it with its beginning and its root and its ending, you're forming a mental picture in your mind. Oh. And you can wiggle that. You can paint. You can change the tone of your colors. Oh, God, let's make this one more intense, right? Take it from the indicative mood to the subjunctive. And what do we do when we switch from the indicative to the subjunctive? We go from a world of just plain old narration to a world of possibilities. Yeah. In English, we just use little modals for that. It's almost like we tapped our brains somewhere, and now we're going to just march in Pete. Yeah. Where's the Pete? Pass the Pete. It's on your feet. It's not so sweet. Give me the next one. I want to go to, you're saying where are we going? Here, I want to bring, I didn't bring it. What I need to give you finally is to say, hey, the exercises are there. When you finish reading each unit, you should attempt the exercises, right? You should attempt the exercises. And I will bring next week the exercises, just a smattering, maybe half a dozen, maybe 10 of those exercises, and we will go over them. Now, if you can keep up with me, you're doing exactly what you should be doing. You're keeping up with me. You're going to notice now in Unit 2 that there are a series of charts in bold, right? The present tense, the imperfect tense, the future tense. You're going to get those now. And you're going to see the endings that you got to tack onto those. And what are you going to do with those endings? You're going to memorize them. You're going to memorize them. What are the presents? Oase, omen, ete, usi. What are the imperfects? On, es, omen, ete, on. What are the aorist? As, amen, ete, on. Interesting. You mean you can just wrote those things? Yeah, I need you to do that. Part of the intensive course is teaching you to go through those charts and just boom, memorize them so you can spit them out. Memorize your endings in Victorian England when you get the whip to smash the little boys on their backsides for not learning their Greek paradigms properly. You say, what are your endings? Now, you have to do that at this point because this is basic training. When you're translating in the future, you're not going to be thinking, oh, God, wait, this is right. You're not going to be thinking that way. As the more you progress into ancient Greek, the less you're going to see that tuning. You're just going to see the final product and it's going to click. It's like riding a wave. You get to a point where you're just riding the wave. But at this point in the game, if you don't, and I lose people's interest if I focus on the paradigms too much, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of building. It's a lot of weightlifting, just constant weightlifting. So here's what I need for you to do. For those of you who are following, Ammon U's intensive Greek course, I need you to memorize all the tense endings for the verbs from Unit 2 for next week so that I can shout out and I can say, what are the future endings? And you can say, oase, omen, ete, usi. We're going to start doing that next week. What are you going to be doing this week? Read Unit 2. Comprehend it. Start digesting the vocabulary. Read all those beautiful notes. Those beautiful notes about the derivations of words. And, oh, God, everybody here, you're going to be 900 people with that much more vocabulary. So keep it up. I know it's tough. We have 1.7 million to memorize. So let's get going. I love it. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you very much. There will be, I just want you to know, in the works, there will be some kind of coming octagon. We must, if we are true members of the new Renaissance, we're going to have to subject ourselves to public demonstrations, public debates. And so we're in the works. Things are coming. Things are coming. So I'm ready, and I'm going to be getting in shape for it because I want to make weight for this next competition. You know what I mean? Dan's one thing, but you work your way up the ladder, right? And hopefully my exercise program will be able to get me to the stage that I'm undefeatable. And that's the goal. That's the goal. So how am I going to prep? Just for those of you who want to know, over the next few weeks, I'll be reading all of the Septuagint and the New Testament. I have to, it's just the thing I've got to do. In Greek, of course. In Greek, of course. Thank you for coming. And I hope to see you in the future. There are new interviews out. I did a live interview. Oh, God. I'm going to list those. I've got several of those to list, and I'm going to list those. Let me do that. I'll put them on the on the page here. Thank you for coming tonight. Please, as you're learning your Greek, you're going to become frustrated. You're going to become frustrated. If you have any access to the people who are the veterans who have been through the program, they can tell you, look, dude, just chill out. It's going to keep like this, right? And someday you're going to look back and realize, oh my God, did I do that? Did I do that much? And you're going to have a test after Unit 3. And the tests are fantastic. I do my tests in a way. I'm going to do them for you. All 800 of us, or how many of us are there? Not. We're going to do it. Thank you for coming tonight. I know it was tough. Looking at some of the origins of Jehovah and the things that you didn't know that were there. So for those of you who who are gonna write to me and tell me, I love one of the best comments I got recently was, "Enjoy hell, idiot." So for all of you, thank you for coming. Sisters of Frustration, thank you for coming. I'll see you Friday night for Lady Babylon, and we'll bring in the apocalypse. Hail Satan.
I never met a girl like you before. Just give me a taste of hot purple. Kiss me in the smoke room. Scythian archers of doom. Spells, weaves, carpets, and looms. Medea Bellissima, my Athena. Death of a creeper. Fashion gibbets. For child interferers. Sleep with the devil, and then you will pay. Sleep with the devil and you'll be taken away. You must pay when you enter the gates of Babylon for all that you did that's wrong. Lexus Rex, Iron Beam, cash and checks, darkness through dreams, purple rain, Athena doing a thing. You can hear me knocking at the door. I'm in the purple suit. Saturnalia, here we go. Wolfsbane, Syriac flow.
Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication. Perfume intoxication.